Okay, so I'm going to start looking a little more closely at the regulator and these fuel inlets on this engine. Now, I couldn't help myself. I touched this inlet here with a wrench before I turned the camera on, and to me it felt like it was already kind of loose. It didn't seem like it took much effort. So I tightened it back up, and that is what it is already right now. It's one of those things where sometimes I just get so excited about looking at something. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this regulator off. I'm not sure how much of this you're really going to be able to see, but if I find anything that doesn't look right, obviously I'll point it out. And yes, while I was at the field, or at my engine running site, I jammed my finger into the toolbox, right onto an open razor blade. So that was fun. Okay, so here we go with this. Let's take a look at this. Now I've got my head magnifier on, so I can look at this, and hopefully I'm not getting my head in there, but I need to be able to see this. I'm looking for any deformities on the mating surface. It's not like I've inspected too many YS engines like this before, but so through this hole right here, pick this hole right here, you can see the crankshaft. You can see the crankshaft hole that sucks sucks air in. Oh, I have the glow plug in still. This thing's got really good compression. Just looks like there's stuff on the crankshaft, just, you know, discoloration on the crankshaft there, because at first I thought that was the... So I don't know, I mean, the people that service this engine, they obviously didn't polish the crankshaft at all, because that's what I would do, and I wouldn't be seeing this discoloration on the crankshaft like that, because that just... I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's just some discoloration there, but I don't really see any. I don't see any real issues with that. Let's look at this regulator. So this regulator, just like I saw when I was out, push on it, I see air bubbles in there. Now, I don't know that I have a replacement gasket, but the only way for me to no, actually it's not the only way. I can get a screwdriver here and unscrew this thing completely. Maybe I can do this without totally moving that gasket. So here's our spring with that O-ring seal. Spring, the big end was going inside. It's loaded with fuel, which it probably should be. That O-ring looks fine to me. I don't see anything wrong with that O-ring. Like I said, I'm not sure how much of this you're actually going to be able to see. I am going to have to see if I can get that gasket off, though. I'd like to just dry it. I don't really see any issues with this gasket. Now, what I was mentioning out at the field, or where I was flying, I don't remember which one of these ports it was here, but there was some weird little, looked like a piece of silicone string or something in there. So I managed to get that out, but either way, I guess if I'm going to have to go through this, we're going to have to replace gasket, because unless one from a YS45 works, I'm not going to trust using this one again. I'm just very lightly going under this. The razor blade Get that gasket off there. Now that gasket looks... gasket looks fine. It's a pretty stout gasket. There's a potential that it could be reused, but I mean, I'm not sure that that would be a good thing unless I find some other definitive issue here. Like, maybe, I don't know if this residue that's on here was from that gasket or from the original one and it just wasn't cleaned properly. Here's the diaphragm. Probably really can't even see it now. I mean, it feels fine. It doesn't have any tears in it. I don't see any issues with that diaphragm. Trying to think of how I could best clean this mating surface off here. It looks like I can just kind of lightly go over it with a blade. So I don't know if this was left over from a previous gasket or what, but I would definitely want to clean that all off completely. So I'm going to pull this plunger out, and this little silicone thing should stay in there. So here's the part of the plunger mechanism. It doesn't look bent, damaged, or anything wrong with it. This is the other part of the plunger. Feels supple. I don't see an issue with that. So it looks like in this channel here, I'm probably going to put this whole thing in the ultrasonic cleaner and clean it that way. Let's see if I can get any of this gunk off this mating surface. I mean, worst case scenario is I just put it all back together and take it back out. Give it a run again. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? I've already tightened what I felt was a loose fitting here, or not completely torqued. And if I just very carefully just run this blade flat over this surface, I should be able to clean that off. Use a Q-tip then with some alcohol and get it the rest of the way clean. But I'll put this in the ultrasonic cleaner so that if there's any, hopefully if there's any more garbage, I mean, it's not like I can really put a little anything in there to blow through there, so I'm going to have to use the ultrasonic cleaner and get that out. So I'm probably going to go turn my cleaner on now, since it's already filled with clean solution. And hopefully maybe it'll clean this little channel out where the silicone diaphragm ran, but I don't see that there's an issue with any of these other parts. So that's the plan, and that's what we're going to do here. If at all possible, I'd like to not disassemble this engine since it's already been disassembled and new bearings installed in it. However, if worst comes to worst, I guess that's what we'll have to do, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. Okay, I forgot one thing. I wanted to pull this line off here, and I already broke this thing free. I wanted to check and see what the gasket looks like on this, and I've already done it and pulled it off and put it back on now, but then I was like, oh, I probably should put this on video. So anyway, this has got like kind of like a plastic gasket, which is nice. So I mean, I'm not seeing an issue there. The mating surface looks pristine, so I'm not seeing an issue there. So we got to just hope that whatever the issue is with the regulator, sealing area, gasket maybe, diaphragm potentially, or maybe there's just, I don't know what would be allowing air in here. So I'm pretty much tightening that up again. And I don't know that I can necessarily do a leak test on this with this, because for the regulator to be working, this thing has to be moving. So it's a little tough to do that. And all I can do is blow through that thing and okay, I can do that. Not leaking. That's definitely not leaking. So I don't believe that there's an issue there. I don't know if air would be coming in one of these other lines. Separate fuel line here. Alright, where did I have another fuel line? Okay, this is a little long, but so that fitting is secure. Blowing through that and air was coming out there, and I could hold it, and there was no leakage there that's detectable. So I don't think that we're going to find anything with these fittings. The same thing here. Well, this one's going to be tougher because it. Okay, so that one's not leaking either. So I think I've effectively eliminated these three fittings. So therefore, it's got to be either a deformity in the crankcase mating surface, the regulator mating surface, or the diaphragm or gasket. That's the only thing I can think it would be. So we're going to go about this one step at a time and see what we can come up with. Okay, upon further review, as they would say in the NFL, well, I don't know how I'm going to. Oh, I guess I can show you that way. So initially when I pulled this diaphragm out, I thought it looked fine, and now I understand what I found in that channel. So this regulator housing has been in the ultrasonic, and I've already started reassembling it. And I started to put this diaphragm on, and I see what the issue is. I see why this thing is leaking. Let me wipe that up real quick. So if you look really closely at this diaphragm. So this diaphragm has to sit on that, and let me just place it on there so you can kind of, those of you that are not familiar can see this. So that weird little channel that had discoloration in it, there's an outer lip of this diaphragm, and that's where it kind of sits in that channel. So it sits in there like this. Now let me take it off and show you. Maybe you can see the little grooves in there. So that inner circle where the plunger is, come on, focus. Inner circle where the plunger is, there's a little ridge there, and then there's another circle. So the diaphragm has a inner portion and an outer portion, the inner and outer lip, if you will. And here you can see that inner and outer lip, and here you can see where portion of the outer lip here is missing.
Boy, this is just tough to get this kind of shots here. Anyway, to me it looks like part of the outer portion of this lip of this got crushed, damaged somehow in reassembly at the other place that did this. And that's what I found in one of these channels, was portion of this outer lip, because that's what it was. It looked like a piece of silicone that was kind of like a string, but it was just a small portion. So I'm pretty damn sure that replacing this diaphragm is going to fix this up. Because every time when I pulled this off now and at the engine run site, I saw air bubbles in here. And you probably saw the air bubbles in there too when I pulled it out. There's not supposed to be air bubbles in there. So the air bubbles were coming in because this lip is damaged on that silicone diaphragm. So I've got one in my cart on eBay along with another gasket just in case. Hopefully those are the only parts I need, because I really only want to place one order. But I'm pretty sure that that's what the issue is right now after seeing that. So anyway, I think we have root cause of the issue here, and we won't know for sure until these parts come in and I get it installed on this engine and take it out for another test run and see. But anyway, that's what it's looking like right now.